Man, shout out to all my people that's going to be joining us over here on the YouTube as well, guys. Shout out to you guys that's going to be joining us on YouTube tonight. We're going to be discussing illegals with debit cards. We're going to also be talking about the descendants of the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, who's been given $5 million to obtain college scholarships. That article has gained a lot of traction on social media on X lately. I put it up in the actual description tonight. So yeah, those are going to be the two topics we're going to be speaking on, guys. For those coming in on YouTube, make sure you click the notification bell. Make sure you go ahead and like tonight's broadcast. Also share tonight's broadcast and leave a comment for tonight's broadcast as well too. So definitely share the broadcast on all your social media platforms. Same with my people that's going to be joining us here in the X space in a little bit, guys. Make sure you go ahead and share this out, retweet out the space. And yeah, we got some interesting topics to talk about, man. Of course, you guys, last week, everybody was talking about the actual $53 million infusion of cash or credit or debit or whatever you want to call it up there in New York with the migrants. And, you know, a lot of people were saying a lot of different things. Actually, I'm going to read something from the Associated Press about that as well. The other article we're going to touch up on tonight, like I say, it's the actual the actual descendants of the Tuskegee experiment, the ones that we call the syphilis, the treatment that the actual penicillin that the actual government, the CDC, withheld using them as guinea pigs. Well, they're descendants that the CDC, they're talking about, well, they're not talking about, but they're going to give them $5 million in terms of scholarship money for the descendants. When you think about the actual number of people that impacted, because that actual experiment lasted 4 decades, $5 million in today's time to go to school for the amount of descendants that impacted, let's just be honest, it's peanuts. But the interesting thing is that you guys got to hear that actual that article I'm going to read, because some of the descendants, they actually formed a nonprofit, and they're going to be speaking on that. So, you know, I'll let you guys hear it yourself. When you hear that actual, you know, the actual response from one of the descendants, you just kind of like, well, you know, this is a lot of times Black folks are with stuff like that as well, too. So we're going to be starting this thing up shortly. We're going to give a few of our people a little bit more time to come up in here, guys. Retweet out the space last night was a really, really good space. Shout out to Camilla Moore for coming in and talking about the actual California reparations. If you guys missed that, go ahead. That broadcast took place last night. You can catch it. It's up. You can catch it on YouTube, or you can catch it up even on X over here as well too. Pretty good broadcast. We're going to do what we do normally. Hopefully, like I say, we'll have good participation from our people as well too. That Negro I like when you're up in the space too. I know a lot of times you chill, but you will come up and speak occasionally, so I can appreciate that as well too, guys. And like I said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start covering these actual topics. I was going to give our people a few more minutes, but hey, they'll get in when they get in. Like I say, check out that article up in the Jumbotron too, guys. It's on the far left-hand side. It says news report, Tuskegee experiment, descendants will receive $5 million in scholarships from the CDC. I think I may lead it off that way right there. I think I may go ahead and start it off that way, so you guys can actually hear that. And then I'm going to touch up on the actual migrants as well with the actual debit cards, as always. So shout out to you guys coming up in the space. This is curator Newstoter.com platform. It's from Black website Michigan Chronicle. Nearly a century after the launch of the Tuskegee experiment, in which 623 Black men in Alabama were infected with syphilis and withheld treatment by federal officials, the United States government is taking steps toward repair by investing in the education of the descendants of the study's victims. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC Foundation, announced a scholarship program for descendants on February 7th. The foundation, a nonprofit authorized by Congress, get that, is authorized by Congress, is raising $5 million to support the Voices for Our Father's Legacy Foundation Scholarship, an initiative by and for relatives of those who were violated in the experiment. This scholarship is a step toward correcting an inexcusable violation of medical ethics. CDC Director Mandy Cohen said in a statement, it seeks to uplift the descendants of the untreated syphilis study at Tuskegee and take steps toward rectifying a difficult part of our public health history. People wonder why Black people have a huge issue with the medical field here in this country, why they have so much distrust for doctors and everything else in the medical profession in this country. It's a long-rooted history why they actually have a legit reason not to trust the actual medical field. In 2023, Voices of Our Fathers awarded 4 scholarships to graduating high school seniors, totaling $11,000. The CDC Foundation aims to increase the awards to $100,000 annually. As a head start, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation contributed $1 million toward the $5 million goal. The CDC Foundation's contribution comes after commitment by Millbank Memorial Fund in 2022. The board's investment acknowledges its role in creating generational trauma for the men and their loved ones. Generational trauma, and you're talking about $5 million here. Our partnership with Voices for Our Father Legacy Foundation, following our apology for the Millbank Memorial Fund's role in the study, has underscored the importance of publicly recognizing past harms, working toward healing, and ultimately building trust in our health system and improving health outcomes for everyone. Christopher F. Collar, president of Millbank Memorial Fund, said in a statement, the Tuskegee experiment, formerly known as the United States Public Health Service study of the untreated syphilis in the Negro male, lasted 4 decades from 1932 to 1972, 40 years. The men were subjects of experimentation, lured into participating with promises of hot meals, free medical exams, and burial insurance. They were told they were being treated for bad blood by researchers. Even after penicillin became the treatment of choice in the mid-1940s, the experiment continued and they were barred from accessing it. In the end, 128 men died of syphilis or related complications, 40 wives were infected, and 19 children were born with congenital syphilis, according to the Equal Justice Initiative. In 1974, men who were part of the study won a $10 million out-of-court settlement. Today, their families are focused on reclaiming the narrative of those connected to the experiment. Lily Head, president of Voices of Our Fathers Legacy Foundation, said the purpose of the descendant-led nonprofit organization is to transform the legacy of the longest-lasting non-therapeutic study in U.S. medical history, from shame and trauma to honor and triumph. She expressed enormous gratitude for the support for the annual scholarships for the future generations of descendants in the statement. We believe this scholarship, endowment fund, and partnership demonstrate a new and lasting commitment to improving healthcare system that provides everyone fair and equal medical care, regardless of their racial and social status. Wow. Now, 1974, the men who were part of the study, at least the ones that were alive, they got $10 million out-of-court settlement. Who knows exactly how much money they actually got after the lawyers and the taxes and everything else was divvied up. $10 million for the ones that actually survived. How many of those men were actually dead by the time they got a measly $10 million? Now we're seeing one of the descendants, and they're talking about the actual study. No disrespect, because they're not my family, but no disrespect to the actual president of Voices of Our Fathers Legacy Foundation, but I'm not sure you can ever take the Tuskegee experiment and take it from shame and trauma to honor and triumph. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. It was one of the biggest, nastiest cover-ups in U.S. history, perpetuated by the United States government, perpetuated by the CDC, perpetuated by a whole bunch of people. And this is something that lasted 4 decades. Okay. This is not something that lasted a 10-year period. For those of us that can remember the movie that came on HBO, Mrs. Everboys, where you had the actress Alfre Woodard playing the actual black nurse that actually because Lawrence Fishburne was a star on that, he was a co-star. That Alfre Woodard actually played the black nurse that was conducting, actually supposedly giving them the actual penicillin when it was actually, of course, we know it wasn't penicillin. I was in high school, I believe, when that movie came out. When you thought about it, I'm thinking that that experiment lasted maybe about 10, 12 years or whatever, but not hardly. The experiment went from 1932 to 1972. I'll be damned if they say 128 men died. I'm sure more men died of syphilis than that. Let's be honest. How many women did they infect? They infected their wives. You had almost 20 kids that was born with congenital syphilis. So I'm not really sure, and I know she's a descendant and she's the president of a nonprofit. I'm not really sure you can ever take that actual event in American history and from shame and trauma and making it into a triumph. I'm just sorry. I don't believe that whatsoever. That's my personal opinion. I know that's her family. She's a descendant of that, but the measly $5 million that you're talking about paying them, the $10 million, the chump change they gave them back in the 70s. And I don't want to hear somebody talk about, well, in today's time, that would be in today's time, my foot. They should have got broke off back then. This is one of the major cover-ups. And like I say, a lot of Black people are hesitant when it's time to go into the hospital. They have a real distrust of doctors and the medical profession because time and time again, these people have butchered Black people in the actual hospitals. Everybody probably in this space and lost somebody to medical malpractice because of the nonsense that they play up in these hospitals. It is all about big business. That's why you have this prescription pharmacy thing that is so out of control. Little pills that cost $3-4 a make, they're selling them for $500 and all kind of nonsense, just price gouging and everything else as well too. We got a couple hands up. I will most definitely be getting to the actual other article as well too, but we're going to let our people go ahead and speak on it. That Negro and woke. I'm gonna get to you guys. I'm not sure which. I think that Negro. I think you may have had your hand up. I'm not sure. If so, you go ahead and unmute your mic.
Right on. Salute to the host. Peace, power, and Negro reparations to the room, specifically for the descendants of the Black American Negroes that built this country with slave labor per the lands promised in Special Field Orders 15, January 16th, 1865. Migrants with debit cards, 5 million Tuskegee experiments scholarships. So, yeah, it is just egregious what they're doing and pretty much smacking us dead in the mouth and saying, oh, yeah, you're gonna deal with it. It's a must that you deal with it, and we don't have any choice. So, but I want you guys to pay attention and stay positive. They're throwing out these measly specks and scraps from the table because they know they are done data. They know that. They know exactly what is coming their way, and I know whether they want to admit it or not, the time to pay is now. And they're getting scared to death. $5 million. If you could, you said 129 people they knowingly infected, pretty much knowingly killed.
That's the one that died, yeah.
Right. And they knowingly and pretty much without even a second thought, they killed these people just for the know-how to what it does to people and how it affects people. And $5 million, I would think $5 million per person that went through that or per family. Oh, my phone died. Yep. My phone died, y'all.
Okay, well, go ahead and charge it up and we'll get back to you.
Pick up for a second. I was just going to say really quickly that I feel like this just furthers the case for federal reparations even more because we keep seeing this from different organizations. Here's 5 million, all these scholarships, all bullshit. The only fucking thing that's going to
whoa! Don't curse! Don't curse! But go ahead.
Oh, sorry. The only thing that will possibly heal this nation are cash reparations for Black American descendants of slaves, which I am not one of. I don't have any family members or a husband or any shit like that. Anybody wants to think that? None. know it's hard to believe somebody just gives a crap about what the situation is, but that is where I stand, and I just feel like it furthers the case for the need for federal reparations even more, because these organizations, and I agree with what that Negro was saying, they know what's coming. This is not going to work. And I'm not going to speak for you guys, but that's just my opinion.
Well, we appreciate that, because, you know, it's great to have allies, and I mean, and you understand. I mean, like you say, you're not actually a descendant of chattel slavery, but yet you yourself, you see the actual what Black Americans have gone through for centuries in this country. Now, and here's the thing here too, we don't get to some of the actual, you have people alive from some of these horrible things that have happened. You got people alive that are close to being alive, descendants. You got people from the Tuskegee experiment. You have the Tulsa. You probably have a couple people alive from Rosewood and everything else like that. So when they start coming up with these lies and these excuses, well, you don't have any descendants, anybody that was impacted by that, they're no longer alive. Like, this is just excuses and reasons. And like that Negro said, if you was talking about $5 million per family, yeah, I could understand that. $5 million per family, and all of the descendants go to college for free. that would be somewhat, we can understand. And if this was flipped, and this had happened to white people, you'd had a class action lawsuit. You'd have $500-600 million would have been given out. You'd have everything allotted to them and stuff like that. But because it was Black people, for decades, they kept up this charade right here. For decades, they kept up this con. For decades, they were sitting up here killing people. Now, this is one of the studies that we know of. Who's to say in the next 30, 40 years, when they start releasing classified information, who knows how many other times Black people have been the guinea pigs in this country, because they were guinea pigs during slavery time. A lot of the procedures and a lot of medical advancements that's evident in this country, they were experimenting on Black women back during slavery times. They was experimenting on Black men as well too. So who's to say what else is going to come out in the next 30, 40 years as well too?
No, I totally agree with that. And I just say, do not settle. Do not settle for this BS slap in the face crap. I can't even believe it. Sorry, go ahead.
No problem. Listen, you're feeling what everybody else in here that's a descendant. Like I say, I heard about this story when I was in high school, and I remember the movie Miss Everboys that came on HBO. Like I say, Alfred Woodard, she was the actual nurse. Lawrence Fishburne was an actor on there, and Lawrence Fishburne actually ended up going to his character actually, went ahead and actually got the penicillin. So that's the one thing that saved him. But to see people forget about syphilis. Syphilis not only it messes you up health wise, but it drives people insane as well too, crazy and whatnot. So you had people that went out of their minds and stuff. They couldn't even get the treatment that they were supposed to. You expose the wives, you expose the children, you expose the community at large because you wanted to use them as a guinea pig. So definitely. Shout out Original. Shout out DJ. I see you guys up here. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna touch up real quick on this actual on the situation with the migrants and the debit cards as well too. This article is from the Associated Press. I actually don't have this article on hand, guys, so it's not in the Jumbotron and it's not in the description on YouTube as well, because I didn't curate it it wasn't curated on the actual site on Newstoter.com. Y'all make sure y'all visit Newstoter.com to stay up to date on breaking Black news. But migrants in New York will receive prepaid debit cards, not credit cards, for designated goods. So this is like I said, this article is from the AP, and they're gonna talk about the claim, the AP's assessment, and the facts. First, let's get to the claim. New York City is giving credit cards to migrants living in the U.S. illegally. The AP's assessment: missing context. The city is launching a pilot program that will provide migrants with prepaid debit cards to buy only food and baby supplies, according to a spokesperson for the mayor. Participants will be allowed to shop with the cards at bodegas, grocery stores, supermarkets, and convenience stores. The goal is to cut costs, officials said. The facts: amid a massive influx of migrants to New York City, social media users are misrepresenting the new program with false claims about the type of aid participants will receive. Lunatic Democrats handing out credit cards to foreigners while Americans are struggling, reads one post on X, formerly Twitter, that had received approximately 7,900 likes and more than 3,800 shares as of Tuesday. A Facebook post reads, "Want to bet New York City's illegal crisis is going to get worse? 53 million in free credit cards ensure that it will. New York City will fall very soon. But migrants will get prepaid debit cards as part of the New York pilot program, not credit cards, which they will only be permitted to purchase food and baby supplies at certain types of retailers. The cards are possible. The cards are a possible replacement for the non-perishable food boxes the city currently provides to migrants. They will be loaded with an average of $12.52 per person per day for 28 days, according to Kayla Memelek, a spokesperson for the New York City Mayor Eric Adams. SNAP and WIC federally funded health and nutrition programs already use similar prepaid cards to dole out benefits. New York City has allocated $53 million to the pilot program, which officials say will save $600,000 per month and $7.2 million annually. The program will also allow migrants to purchase food and baby supplies of their choosing. Adams said at a press conference Monday that beyond savings, officials hope using the cards at area retailers will help stimulate the local economy. Funny what y'all think can stimulate the local economy. We need to dispel the rumor that we gave American Express cards to everyone. He said that's just not true. Credit cards and debit cards are two very different type of payment methods. When using a credit card, a consumer borrows money that they must repay on a certain due date. Debit cards are linked to bank or credit union account, meaning one generally can't spend more money than they have in the account. Prepaid debit cards must be loaded with money before they can be used, as they are not linked to a bank or credit union account. Memelek told the Associated Press that migrants in the cost-effective technology pilot program will only receive prepaid debit cards. We will provide prepaid debit cards to an initial 500 migrant families with children who may use the prepaid cards exclusively at bodegas, grocery stores, supermarkets, and convenience stores to ensure the money is spent on food and baby supplies, she wrote in an email. Memelek explained that participants will be required to sign an affidavit affirming that they will be using these cards for their intended purposes and that doing otherwise will risk removal from the program. Mobility Capital Finance, the company that New York City is partnering with to launch the program, confirmed to the AP that the cards are not credit cards. The program said the program is expected to begin later this month. If the program is successful, the city will expand it, Adams said at Monday's press conference. So if the program is successful, they intend to expand it, which means they're going to be giving out more money as well, too. So if you're going to expand, you got to spend more as well, too. So yeah, you had a lot of, like we had last week, I saw a lot of people were saying that they were giving away credit cards. Of course, I had already read that it was actually debit cards, but it's still $53 million. 500 migrant families are being used to start this pilot program. And they say it's going to cost, it's going to save the city $600,000 a month, over $7 million a year. But at the same time, if it's successful, they say they're going to expand it as well, too. So who knows exactly if it costs $53 million to get this pilot program off the jump right now, then who knows next year if they do expand, it could cost $103 million. So it's not going away anytime soon because New York City is getting slammed with migrants. But at the same time, New York City is a sanctuary city as well, too. And I know there was a lot of, they've been getting hit with a lot of migrants sent up there. They was upset with DeSantis and Abbott in Texas as well, too. But it ain't finna stop anytime soon. Now, before, Mayor Eric Adams was a big proponent of the migrants coming up there, but as soon as it got to the point where they couldn't maintain, then he started saying, hey, yeah, this is going too far. We need help. We don't have resources, this and that. Well, yeah, man, guess what? You're in one of the most populated cities on earth, the largest city in the country in terms of population. It's always been like a rat trap up there. People, I mean, come on. So yeah, if you already got 8, 9, 10 million people, how many of the people that's in New York City, and then you have thousands of people coming there a day, yeah, it's going to put a major strain on the actual resources that you got. Woke AF, go ahead and unmute your mic. You got it.
Thank you. Just want to clarify because something's not adding up to me. 500 families in the pilot program, and 53 million, based on what you said of, average of $12 a person, is not, I didn't, do the math, the actual math, but in my head it's not adding up. So I'm wondering if there's more to it. Did you say they confirmed it's like $12 a person, or does that make sense that it's not adding up to me?
Yeah, they say that they will load with an average of $12.52 per person per day for 28 days. So if we got any,
Per day. Okay.
yeah, per day. So that's what they're claiming. Like you say, it's 500 families in it. Like I said, I don't understand for a city that's already talking about they don't have the actual funds to do this. I'm just wondering.
That was the other part, that kind of ties into that really quick. Is that in place of them trying to get on, SNAP, trying to get public aid benefits? Is it in place of that?
Well, I don't. From what I'm seeing, I don't think it's in place of it. Well, because they say it's a replacement for the non-perishable food boxes that the city provides to migrants, but they're still going to probably be getting. I'm sure they're still going to be getting. They're still going to be having the
like WIC, SNAP, and all.
Yeah, they can still get that. That's what I'm thinking. According to because you already got SNAP and WIC that doles out money and stuff as well, benefits as well too. So yeah, they should still be able to get the actual government benefits as well too. I'm sure they will be able to. I don't see where I didn't read anything where it said, well, no, they won't be able to get this or get that or whatever. So, and then they're also using it saying that, hey, they're going to go to certain stores and this and that or whatever. So it's gonna stimulate the local economy. Like wow, like you can't make this stuff up. So this will stimulate the local economy. If you think that'll stimulate the local economy, I tell you what, give black people $1 trillion to put back into the economy, and it'll stimulate it all right. Original, what's going on with you? You got to go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, peace, black power, and lineage-based reparation. I mean, if this doesn't show the depth of the hate that this country, and particularly the Democrats, regardless of their ethnicity, the hate that they have for U.S. descendants of enslaved people, I don't know what does. Because there's no way. See, we can't go to these other countries and be stimulated like this. But these people are allowed to walk over the border and claim. Because if you notice, when this thing first started, when Donald Trump was in office, all these people were saying that they were running from gangs, that they were running from, I'm like, if that don't sound like a lie, I don't know what does. And the news media, which is nothing but the propaganda wing of the American government, they wanted us to, they was a little upset that we didn't believe that. Because there was it was an image that they showed where this man and his kid had drowned in some water down, I guess it was down near Texas or somewhere. And when I first saw that image, I was like, that looks staged. And I was listening to a radio program, and the host of that program said the same thing. And a lot of people said that looks staged. They was trying to pull sympathy from us to accept these people, and knowing that they want to put them before us. This is insane. It's amazing how they can come here and receive all these benefits, and these Democrats, like I said, regardless of ethnicity, they can just, they sit back and look at us and like, okay, so we're not doing anything for you. If you look at black Democrats, some of these Democrats, their districts are like in the 50th percentile, black. But yet, they will not say anything regarding black people. They'll come out here and start all this people of color garbage and thinking that, making these black folks think that they're going to get something when they know they're not going to do anything for them. This is beyond insane. And I think they don't believe that But like I have told people, had someone to say, well, that's why I'm voting for the Republicans. I'm not voting for the Republicans unless they got some concessions for black folks. Because, I mean, you're talking about going from one stupid group of people to another one. And if they ain't offering nothing, they don't get my vote. There's no way I'm going to give up my vote for nothing. I don't care who it is. I'm just not going to do that. But it's a shame that these people want to do this. And all I can say is we need to show them exactly who's in charge. I don't know if the election will be rigged or not. Who knows? It's a possibility. I'm not talking about Dom Donald, because I know this is bigger than Dom Donald. Because remember when what's that boy named Cornell Belcher? He said that you're going to have to scare the hell out of black folks to get them to the polls. Well, I'm not sorry. You can't scare the hell out of me because I'm just not going to vote for you. And let me say this about the Tuskegee experiment. You know that was the CDC. See, the CDC started out as a military unit, and it kept. I forget what it was called, but it started out as a military unit, and it went through a metamorphosis and morphed into the CDC as we know it today. And so they did that experiment, and not only that, I'm gonna put this out there too. There was some Jews involved. I just want to put it out there because every time you turn around when something happens to them, just like you had the governor of New York bragging about she secured, I think it was 180 something $million for the people of the Holocaust and their descendants. And we were like, okay, so what about U.S. descendants of enslaved people? See, nobody wants to do anything for us. They want us to use our vote and our essence to put them in high places, but they're not going to do anything for us. So my position is, well, hell, if you're not going to do anything for my demographic, I'm not wasting my time. But I live within walking distance of my voting. I live within walking distance of my polling place. But I will not use my vote to allow other people to be taken care of, and my demographic don't have anything with me. And anybody can get upset. Everyone, just like I have a vote, I'm the only one who controls my vote. Now, if whatever you want to do with your vote, that's your choice. But I think we need to look at that Tuskegee, that Tuskegee image. The Tuskegee situation a little bit closer. Because see, when you look at it, none of these high-profile black people will come out and say anything. And I do believe because see, they know that some Jews were involved as well, and they don't. I think one of the doctors was named Heller or something like that. They don't want to raise that issue. And see, I don't give a damn because like those books from the Nation of Islam, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, they wouldn't have offered Minister Farrakhan, they wouldn't have asked him to denounce those books if what was in there wasn't true. So I just want people to understand that, as Dr. Clark said, we don't have any friends. So just understand that so people will know what to do. But I'll land with that.
All right. Thank you, Original. I'm going to say this right here. I know you was talking about Jewish people being involved, but the actual government was involved now. Whether it was Jewish people, Irish people, the French, whatever, it was a bunch of white people that came up with this, what they were going to do, and use black people as guinea pigs. So I'm not gonna disclaim and say this ethnic group wasn't involved, that ethnic group wasn't involved, but as we know, white supremacy was involved, and everybody that fits underneath that veil was there. So I'm gonna put it on. I'm not even gonna label it on the United States government. They have to wear that, and the people that was in control of the government, let's be for real, were white people. So they were the ones that for 40 damn years kept this crap going, got people killed, got people sick, caused people to lose their minds, because syphilis eats away at your damn brain and stuff as well too. So they cause children to be born sick into this world. They cause the wives and everybody else, they cause all kind of grief and pain. So this was a total between with the government, the CDC, the government, whatever branch of whatever, they all were in cahoots with each other. And I don't care what ethnic group of people took part in it. I guarantee those people don't look like us. So I mean that's my whole thing. Like I don't care if it was a specific group, a supremacist that took part in it. They all guilty. They all had their hand in it, and they all caused a bunch of death and sickness. And something that you didn't even do. You if you were going to test something like that, you could have did that to lab rats, but you didn't do that to lab rats. And you sat up here lying, people thinking that they're getting actual medicine to get better. And no, they're getting sicker by the damn day. You did this for 40 damn years. The ones that survived, you gave them chump change. You gave them $10 million in the 70s. And now you got them sitting up here talking about $5 million to go to school. Do you know the cost of what it is for college tuition nowadays? And you talk about the Descendants. Who knows how many Descendants you could be talking about? You'd be talking about hundreds of Descendants. What in the hell is $5 million going to do? Let's say you got 130 Descendants that's going to go to college. Is that going to cover the cost? Hell no. They should at least, at the very least, all of those families involved should have got $5-10 million a piece for what they cause, but they wouldn't do that. So no, I'm gonna stick it on all of them. I'm gonna stick it on whoever took part of it. I don't care what part of the old country they come from, the old continent. They all deserve that blame for that. They all took part in it, from, like I say, the federal government and this is why people, like I say, as black people, a lot of black people, and a lot of times black people don't like to go to the doctor, and sometimes things get worse. They have no trust in the actual medical profession here, like no trust in it. The day you end up going there, you end up dying and stuff like that. A lot of people feel as well too. You can't trust what these people say. You can't take it serious. So now I'm going to put the blame solely on the actual United States government. And like I said, I don't care what part of Europe the people came from. I don't care what religion they fall underneath or whatever. If they took part in this whole cover-up, they just as guilty. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, Newstoter. Hey, everybody.
What's up, Rella?
How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
I'm sorry you guys aren't having my dinner, and I like to do my research and pull up information and sprinkle on some of that good. Hey, DJ.
How you doing? How many miles out we had tonight to that dinner? Let's go.
Hi, Original. Shout out to the room. Okay, so in Woke AF, I really, really love her. Definitely her submissions, because they're right on point. And of course, Original, you already know, you already got it. So as I was pulling up some information on the number of the asylum seekers that at the end of October 2023, the New York City and its mayor Eric Adams had stated that New York's asylum seekers totaled 64,100 in the entire city. They said there were 500 families with children in semi-congregate facilities. Upon opening the Floyd Bennett Field to serve approximately the 500 families. The problem I have is them numbers are not adding up. And I do agree with Woke AF, because if you're telling me 126,700 asylum seekers arrived in New York, and you're saying only 64,100 is what caused the topple of you to exceed your resources, what happened to the other people? They disappeared? Because that's them numbers are not mathing. them numbers is not mathing. And if you're telling me you're giving them 12, let me make sure I go back to my notes that I put down in the Jumbotron. that you're giving them $12 a day, because we really got to think about this, $12 a day per person, which equates to $350 per person. Them numbers are not adding up. And then on top of that, you're giving them more money that you actually state in their information that New Yorkers who are in low-income positions or in need of housing only receive $291 a month per person, whereas the asylum seekers, who they're classifying in documents as refugees, but they're telling us they're asylum seekers. I'm going to get to that in a minute. So they're saying they're getting $350 per person. So that's not $350 on a card. That's $300 per person. So if there's 5 people in a family, that's 350 times 5 on one card. And then on top, and that's only supposedly the resources for food. That's not including the debit card information. So that takes me to my other article that I posted in the Jumbotron that states benefits available in New York City, RFI asylum support. It says the cash benefits of $180 per month per person is available for up to 2 years, and you can also qualify for non-cash assistance such as utility, housing vouchers, fair fares, and a half-price Metro card and Medicaid. On demand. This is what they're getting on demand. And on top of that, remember, before all of this came about, they were already in position in hotels getting food, right? So when you look at all of these resources that have been divvied out, which is millions of dollars, because I remember, Newstoter, wasn't it like $12 million in the beginning? I think they said that they had divvied out, and then now they're asking for another $5 million to provide food and resources and housing, and they're only trying to say, oh, it's only 500 families. That's a lie. That's a lie, because their number don't even add up.
Yeah, they claim it's 500 families in this program.
It can't be. It can't be 500 families, but you're saying you toppled New York off, and you collected 126,700 people that you have documented, and you're trying to tell us only 500 people are families in that entire number, and then you're saying that 64,100 is really the ones who are in need of resources. So where everybody, so other people came here with money or something? Like, what are we saying? Then why did you need $12 million in the initial phase, and now you're asking for another $5 million? Somebody pocketing something and they lying. Somebody's pocketing some money. And so I really do believe this is a way for them to commit economic genocide, and also at the same time to fully remove and displace the Americans that are left in New York City. While at the same time, maybe trying to prep the people that are there to even get citizenship, because I remember that was another conversation that we had fallen on, that they were trying to pass a law to get them immediate citizenship, right? Because again, I do believe they're not giving us the full information on how they classify these people. It is coming out. They can't hide it anymore. They're reclassifying them under the refugee status. Federally, the federal government would come in and say, okay, well, here's some money, because you now have people who are claiming they are seeking asylum, and you classified them as refugees, from war-torn countries. So we really have to do something about pushing back and making some noise, because at the end of the day, especially someone who has benefited and continuously understands the benefits of having resources for your family, no matter what your economic status is, those resources are being pulled from us. They are being taken from us. And I said this to Camilla yesterday in the space you had yesterday, Newstoter. You can't say that, okay, these states are trying to appeal to the humanitarian efforts of helping other people while denying the efforts of your own country, because they can go to and give us the same stipend, housing, the same footing, boots and straps. I mean, these people are getting laced boots, straps. They're getting a whole entire wardrobe without even having to ask. And the thing that I don't like is that Republicans don't use that same BS language that they try to use with our descendants, saying, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, when, again, people are coming into the country and they're being allowed to undergird the people who are here. Let's call it all the way out. Let's call it all the way out. See, I don't have no cut card when it comes to the political party scheme. I'm not going to be on here championing, you need to vote Republican, you need to vote Democrat, and don't vote this, that. No, we're going to call out all the BS. I really don't care what your affiliate is, or even if you're not voting. I really care about what is the factual data that is in front of us that has been harming us to the T. And if it weighs heavily that it is Democrat, it is that. You call a spade a spade. That's what my father taught me. If it is that the Republicans are a part of that, the conditions that have contributed to harm, you call a spade, because that's what my daddy taught me. So at the end of the day, there are a lot of people complicit, and they're taking money off the back end, because when you look at the information being put out, even in the news articles, the math ain't mathing. Yeah, you don't even have to be a mathematical genius or a scientist to realize, put them numbers together, and it don't make sense.
Real quick, Rilla, did you want to say anything about the situation with the Tuskegee experiment?
Yes, I do believe the Tuskegee experiment scholarship. I'm sorry, in regards to, you're gonna have to catch me up because my brain was on 20. Yeah, are they trying to give scholarships to migrants?
No, this is for the actual descendants of the Tuskegee experiment. They're talking about giving them $5 million to CDC to the actual descendants for college scholarships.
I think it should be more than that. The Tuskegee experiment decimated families. Even after men who actually suffer from syphilis, some of them I think couldn't have children, and the ones they did have, the kids were also affected. There were birth defects issues going on. The mothers even had complications. To me, $5 million is a slap in the face. It's the same thing they did with Henrietta Lack's family until they actually, just got this multi-billion-dollar settlement. So shout out to them. I would say that if it's not along the lines of somebody getting some multi-millions or at least a multi-billion situation like that, $5 million is a slap in the face. I'm all for scholarships, and I'm all for them trying to think they're going to do something, but you're not going to just slap a Band-Aid on some shit that y'all know that affected generations of people. And then we not call it out because you want to just throw some money out there. Say, here, they'll be quiet. So I'm appreciative of the scholarships, and it should be more than that. And the family should be also, they should also be somehow have some sort of input into the school or something given by the CDC in record that they go to the schools for free. Their lineages are able to attend Tuskegee for free. There should be more given than just the scholarship and $5 million. Because $5 million, once it runs out, it runs out. No, it should be a consistent continuation result where they never have to turn their backs and look and say, hey, we can't afford education, we can't afford housing, we have reproductive issues or whatever, medical bills, all that shit should be covered. Excuse my language. Sorry, didn't mean to cuss. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Let me go ahead and get to original. I see you got a bunch of people coming up in the space, guys. Definitely go ahead and retweet the space out. And if you missed last night's space, you can catch it on YouTube as well, too, guys. We had Camilla Moore in here talking about the California reparations and the down payment and everything else, cash payment. I didn't mean to say down payment, but cash payment. So if you guys missed last night's broadcast /X space, you can catch it on YouTube. So definitely go ahead. If you missed that, go ahead and catch that. Original, go ahead. You got it.
sleep last night. But Newstoter, the reason I just want to share this with everybody. See, my reasoning for citing these so-called Jews is like in that book, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, Volume 2, that we all understand what our people went through during segregation. And in this book, it has a photo of the states of the Jim Crow South and all these department stores that black people were not allowed to go inside, and they were owned by Jews. And one of the ones that we had here in Atlanta called Rich's Department Store, that is one of the stores that black people fought hard to just to get to go in that store and come. And I didn't know that I forget the guy name. His name, he was from, I think he was a Hungarian Jew or something like that. Well, the reason I said that, but he changed. See, they'll change their name, but when you start researching them, you'll see that just like the people at Warner Brothers, their name is like whatever it is, but they changed it to Warner to try to hide their dirt. And that's why the reason I mentioned them, because they're always doing stuff and throwing a rock and hide their hand behind their back, acting as if they didn't do anything, but let somebody look at them sideways, oh, they're raising hell. And yes, you have, and there was also Eugene Dibble, and you mentioned that movie, Miss Evers' Boy, but that lady's name was Eunice Rivers, and I forget what the stipulation was as to why they did not use her real name in that movie, but her name is Nurse Eunice Rivers. So everyone should know her name and not call her that Miss Evers, because she was one of the main characters that was telling these people they had bad blood and this, that, and whatever, and they believed her, because see, a lot of these experiments that take place with our people, they put black people out there to lure them into these experimentations, because we had where the black community went after it was UCLA, Kaiser Permanente, the LA County Department of Health, and the CDC. They had they was running this Edmondson Segram high titer measles vaccine on these black babies in Los Angeles, and one of the children died. And so what happened is the people were pushing the fight, but they tapped the family on the shoulder, offered them some money, and they decided to take the money, because if it's not your child, and you don't have guardianship over that child, you're not allowed to fight for that child. So that's how that ended up. They always offer money, and that's what this this $5 million they want to. I guess they think that that's a good song where they got $5 million and where they can go. But even if it is for them to go to college or whatever, no, that ain't enough. Those people went through hell when they could have given them a shot of penicillin and healed them. This is just insane. And what makes me so angry is the fact that these old low-down people like old Al Sharpton and others, they sit back there quiet and don't say anything. Even the local, I haven't heard. I'll see the local, state, and federal representatives. I would like to know what they think of this. If they think this is a slap in the face, and that's part of our problem right there, is that these people who have been put in place to represent us, they take our vote and represent everybody except for us. Because I saw what's her name? Ayanna Presley. She was in a video, and she was talking to these Haitians. Now, I'm not against the Haitian, but I'm like, she was talking to them about, I forget what it was, but she was just like, just pro-Haitian, pro-Haitian, pro-Haitian. But yet, she won't say anything about lineage-based reparation for U.S. descendants of enslaved people. And that's what these people have been doing. They just take our vote And because too many of us stay quiet, and they take our vote and use it to represent everybody except us. And that has to stop. And that's what I've been telling these people. I'm not voting because you got like in some of these races, like in Arizona, that crazy white girl Carrie Lake, she's leading the Democrat out there in Arizona. And I tell them, this guy, what his name is, Ruben Gallego or whatever the hell his name is. I said, well, he some of his fundraisers come across my timeline. I said, well, you know, I do have some disposable income, but due to your vehement hate of U.S. descendants of enslaved people, and until we get reparation, I will not be supporting any political party in any way. I just let him know. I know more than likely he doesn't see that. He has staffers that monitor that Twitter space. But hey, it is what it is. But I just feel that we should call out these people because see, remember now when they rolled out that COVID shot. Remember it was a sister. She was from Africa or somewhere. They said, well, this black woman, all of a sudden they become black. This black woman, she helped to develop it. Black folk were like, we don't care. We're not taking it. We are not taking it because even on my job, they kept telling me, well, you can trust the research. I said, no, I can't. Even when I told them I said, it's not even about Tuskegee. It's what they continue to do afterwards. And when I shared that about the what happened in Los Angeles, these white folks looked at me as if I was crazy. I said, but if you think I'm going to sit up here and allow anyone to put something in my body, I don't know what it is. That is not going to happen. But I think we need to raise hell and make sure that everybody get called out, regardless of your ethnicity or your religious belief. Because see, when people do stuff to some other people, it doesn't matter how many. It doesn't matter if it was minimal or not. They coming after you, especially if you look like us. And I'll land with that.
All right, appreciate that, Original. I'm going to just touch up on this last part of this article about the Tuskegee experiment. Because now, remember, like I said, the CDC, the CDC Foundation is a foundation, a nonprofit authorized by Congress. So they're raising $5 million to support the Voices of Our Fathers Legacy Foundation scholarships, which is the Descendants. It's a descendant-led nonprofit organization of the actual descendants of the Tuskegee experiment. I want you to hear what the actual president, Lily Head, the actual descendant of the actual people from the Tuskegee, she's the head of this nonprofit, Voices of Our Fathers Legacy Foundation. This is what she says. Lily Head, president of Voices of Our Fathers Legacy Foundation, said the purpose of the descendant-led nonprofit organization is to transform the legacy of the longest-lasting non-therapeutic study in U.S. medical history from shame and trauma to honor and triumph. She expressed enormous gratitude for the support for the annual scholarships for future generations of descendants in the statement. We believe this scholarship, endowment fund, and partnership demonstrate a new and lasting commitment to improving healthcare system that provides everyone fair and equal medical care, regardless of their racial and social status. Now, like I say, Congress, they're the ones actually, with their own nonprofit, they're the ones that's actually authorizing this actual payment. The fact that they talk about they have to raise $5 million now. Daughter Zion made a good point in one of the comments. Before I got on, I saw that, the Senate, you've been having the Senate and the House going back and forth. One of them talk about giving $118 billion to Ukraine and Israel. I think today they was talking about giving $95 billion to Ukraine and Israel. See, they don't have to raise that money. They just go ahead and they just give it. They just dole it out. They don't have to raise that money. They don't have to get a $1 million. Somebody gives them contributes $1 million to it or whatever. They just go ahead and they just check the coffin, shake the piggy bank up, and all kind of money falls out. Here they got to raise a measly $5 million for one of the nastiest medical conspiracies in the history of this country that they took part in. They got to raise a measly $5 million. 1974, they gave $10 million to the people, to some of the men that was part of the actual out of court settlement. Now they settled for $10 million in 1974. And I know people will say, well, if you look at what $10 million was in 1974, I don't care what $10 million was in 1974. For one, a lot of the men that actually took part in that, because you're talking about this experiment lasted 40 years. A lot of those men were long dead before they actually did a settlement. So if they were to give $10 million to each one of those families that was a victim of the actual experiment, I could see that. I could see free college, free health insurance, like Rella said, free housing, all of that kind of stuff. The same way had it been white people that were guinea pigs for 40 years, and it was a conspiracy by the government. People always talk about, well, you just conspiracy theorist. Well, you see it. I mean, if this ain't a conspiracy, I don't know what in the world is. So, I can feel Lily head. I know she's a descendant of the people or whatever, but at the same time, man, $5 million. And if you got what if you got 50, 60 relatives that's going to school? What is $5 million going to do? In today's time, trying to go to a university or even a junior college, even going to get a trade school, because they should also include that as well too. It shouldn't just be college. Hey, if you're going to get something in trade or whatever, we're gonna pay for that as well too. But here's the thing: they should have a blank check. Whatever your descendants from here to eternity to this country last, they go to school for free. Period. You guys get free medical insurance. Period. We're gonna cut y'all a nice check. We're gonna cut y'all a few $100 million right here. So anything less than that, to me, I can't. That's her family, and I'm sure she's grateful that it's gonna help some, but I can't roll with that right there. I'm sorry, $5 million in a day's time with inflation. And you're talking about going to school and everything else that they put these people through. Not only just the families, but the entire communities as well too. The entire communities that they put people through. Like Rella said, you had kids that were born with congenital syphilis around here. You had people that went stark raving mad because the syphilis ate their damn brains up like it did Al Capone when he was in prison. And you're thinking that you're getting treatment. You going to the doctor, you're thinking that you're getting better, and day by day you're dying more and more and more with this nonsense that they're giving you. That when they talk about a snake oil salesman, that's exactly what the actual government did. They were the snake oil salesman, not somebody sitting on the side of the road in a suit and a top hat with a bunch of elixirs and a bunch of bottles. They were the snake oil salesmen. They were for 40 damn years. They set up here and just mess people up. And now they're going to go ahead and Congress. And like I said, they can go ahead and they can spend billions of damn dollars. They don't have to raise anything. They can spend billions. They fighting over how much money they're going to give Ukraine and they're going to give Israel. And then they talk about, well, even the Republicans playing this game talk about, some of this money's got to be for the border and this. How long does it take to secure the border? You've had this crisis with people coming across that border for 50, 60 years. How long does it take to fix the damn wall, to fix the border, to put enough people out there, whatever? You got money left and right. If you can give billions upon billions of dollars to foreign nations, I know damn well you can go ahead and secure a border. So to sit up here, you still ain't fixed that damn water crisis in Mississippi either, in Jackson. So all of this nonsense about, hey, we don't have this and we don't have that. And just like I read tonight, they getting this damn prepaid debit cards, $53 million, 500 families or whatever. Let's stop that. You don't have the money. You have the money to spend. You just don't want to spend it on certain groups and certain people and certain things. That's what it all boils down to. Woke, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thank you. Yeah, I think you pointed this out earlier. Maybe you read the letter, but you were talking about bringing honor and courage or whatever, and not seeing, having a hard time getting around to that whole situation representing honor and courage. I see what you were talking about now, and I feel like it's like, ridiculous in a sense. It's like your family member was, murdered, and they want to turn it into honor and courage. It's I don't know how she brought herself to write that, but there was something else that I was going to say, but I forgot. So I did want to recognize that, though, that I agree with you. It's a little ridiculous to say, it's hard to get to a place. You never feel like there's going to be, if you have a family member that was killed in that way or any other way, to be honest, murdered, you're never really going to have that peace. The other thing I wanted to say is they gave $10 million in 1974. How many, do you think they have it in their mind that that chapter was closed and this is just an additional, freebie that they're throwing at you? Do you think that? I'm not saying I do, but I feel like if there was payment before, they could say that to themselves. Oh, we closed that chapter, but we still recognize the bad history, so here, let me pepper this in.
That's exactly what they think. And the 10 million, and like I said, that was an out of court settlement as well too. Now, had you had somebody like the Florida lawyer Willie Gary that was on that case, that $10 million would have turned into $200-300 million even in 1974. But they went ahead. They got the people to go ahead and settle for what really was chump change. I mean, when you experiment on somebody for 40 damn years, and to give them $10 million, and who knows how many of the people are actually alive at that time or their descendants, because I'm pretty sure, like I say, a whole 128 of them were dead. So who knows how many were actually alive to actually see it. So $10 million, how much did each family member get? How much did the families get after the lawyers took their cut? That's what you have to wonder as well too. So 10 million, they came out cheap. They came out that was nothing.
Yeah, it still was nothing. Yeah, I'm not saying that 10 million was sufficient whatsoever. I'm just trying to figure out what's in their mind. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they're thinking, that chapter was closed. Oh, that would have been 100 million in 2024. So we're good. Here's something extra.
I'm sure that's what I agree with you. I think that's what they think. They're like, hey, we paid them, we gave them $10 million, and now we're going to give them an additional $5 million. So there shouldn't be that we're paying for this school. There should be no complaints or anything. This is a travesty that happened, but we've taken care. We stood up and we've closed that history, that chapter in American history. Nothing like that would ever happen again, and this and that. And these are the same people that sit up here when black people talk about reparations. You look at this case right here, the Tuskegee experiment, and you look at what happened in Tulsa and Rosewood and all this time. These people sit up here. You got people still alive for the Tulsa massacre, and they sitting up here trying not to give these people a damn dollar, doing their damnness to sit up here and not give them a damn. Well, anytime now, whenever you're talking about reparations for slavery, oh, well, you weren't a slave. You weren't around. Nobody today was a slave owner. You don't deserve anything. When were you a slave or whatever? But yet when you have people, when you bomb your own citizens in their country, when you tear down their livelihood, and you still come up with an excuse and the reason why you can't pay them. You got women 100 and some odd years old sitting up here trying to get justice, and you sitting up here with a straight face on, not trying to give them anything, and you can justify that. This just goes beyond the actual all this other stuff. This goes to just straight up hatred right here. This
pure will, pure just you don't want to do it. In my mind, there should be a excuse my language, sorry, bad habit. There should be a movement amongst a lot of white people, to get this done. I don't, and it's ignorant as heck to say, oh, well, you weren't a slave. That's just the dumbest I've ever heard. It's just ignorant, ridiculous. And to not be able to recognize the systemic issues, the generational issues, what would have been if slavery wasn't a thing. That is something that I've delved into a little bit. What would the economy look like if Black people weren't suppressed all that time.
The economy actually,
Ignore all that.
it would be a lot stronger had you not had slavery. If you didn't have the issue of racism, I think they say racism itself causes something. I forgot how many billions of dollars is lost in this country just because of racism. So
450. I think it's more than that now, but it was 450 billion. Billion was the last quoted, or maybe 460, but it's up there.
you go ahead, Relly, because I know you had your hand up. So go ahead.
I know if you were going to no taxation, but I agree with everything you and Woke AF were saying, and again, it goes back to these people were so much sociopaths that they willingly watched the effects of the illnesses that came out of syphilis, gonorrhea from the experiments. And there were other drugs that, other diseases that they tested on the military. But the crazy part is they sat and watched all throughout the years the effects of it, which means they knew that they were looking at if you do not treat these people. So for people who have syphilis and gonorrhea now today, who have to be required to get medicine, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier, the importance of now how they have been able to develop medication now. It was, off of the backs of
experimentation.
Black people being experimented on, because again, the way they were able to sit and watch them, and the way they were able to and then pass on, that means they were documenting.
It's sick. That is sick.
Yes, and when you mentally look at this and how they were actually even going as far as passing on documentation, hiring new people coming in, approving this, getting information approved to do certain things, and and then they were bringing them into the facility in Tuskegee, just so that they can just monitor them and send them back out. And then for some of the people they couldn't get in contact with, because like you said, some of them actually did pass away, and that does not contribute to what happened to their children. Their lives could have been different. We don't even know how that affected them as far as getting jobs afterwards when they came out of the military. All that was not taken into account. And when you do hear people say, oh, well, you weren't alive when slavery was around. But guess what? My ancestor was alive when slavery was around. My ancestor was alive when the Great Depression was around and white people were able to come out. And I'm not just saying white, the umbrella. People who came in under refugee status, who classify now today as white, and they're from other countries, they came in, and it's accounted for that they were able to be giving sharecropper land. They were able to be given housing and money. The same things that's happening right now with the immigrants. The immigrants or the migrants or the asylum seekers, whatever you want to call them now, the refugee people that they're classifying now, it's the same cycle. And so when you look at that, what's happening, they're trying to stagnate a group of people, and it is us. Their very benign neglect is to stop us dead in our tracks. That is a willingness to genocide. That's no different than what they did to the military men during the Tuskegee experiment, or to Henrietta Lacks. You were trying to kill off generations of people in one swoop. That, to me, is an act of war. It is a treasonous thing, and it needs to be called out as such. And if you say that you are an American patriot, I don't want to hear it come out your mouth that you believe in what is happening and you not believe in repair, because Italians got repair, Irish got repair, and what were they escaping? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it burns me up. It burns my spirit to no end, because what would our lives have been like if it wasn't for Jim Crow, if it wasn't for the Ku Klux Klan, if it wasn't for mass incarceration or lynchings? police murdering and killing, the culture that came out of the way of Ku Klux Klan members. What would our lives really be? They have accounts of Black American descendants in their families living in communities and thriving. We see videos that are now coming out that the Library of Congress is allowing to be released of people living their life, happy, they doing their thing, building cities, educated, and then next thing you know, you got people coming in and bombing and murdering and killing them. That is willful genocide. Period.
Real talk.
This is disgusting. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let me go ahead and get to Duncan. I see you. No taxation. I see you up here. If you want to speak too, just go ahead and get your hand up. Anybody that wants to speak as well too, we're gonna go ahead and we'll get to you guys. We're not gonna have a long space tonight, but thank you guys for coming in. Anyways, I felt this was an important topic. Up in the jumbotron on the right hand side, this article is up in there. This article about the actual Tuskegee. Is it on the right hand side? No, it's on the left hand side. I'm sorry. It's the actual article is up in the jumbotron, guys. If you have not read it, you can read it. I tweeted it out yesterday, and it has over 965,000 views. A lot of people that still leaving comments on there as well too. So it was definitely
Did you expect it to pop off like that?
No, I didn't. I just I just
I know.
I just had it on the site and just went ahead and just tweeted it out and it just it was what it was. So no, I definitely didn't expect anything like that of that magnitude. But nonetheless, I'm glad that a lot of people saw it and a lot of people did the actual when you hear everybody's reaction to it. For the most part, everybody was like, what? And when they saw that, they just was like, everybody was like shaking their head, like I can't believe this is actually what it is. So yeah, guys, definitely if you get a chance, retweet it out as well too. If you haven't, like I said, I already read it in here, but some of you guys weren't in here. You can go to the site and read the entire article, or you can read most of it. You can have to click that read more to go to the actual parent site. But nonetheless, guys, definitely check it out. If you weren't in here, check it out. Let me go ahead and get to Duncan. Duncan, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yes, thank you. Well, the reason I raised my hand, I think Woke as Fuck said something. Woke did some that kind of made me want to speak tonight. She said, "Well, the white allies," and I remember before, Black America honed in and focused on reparative justice. You had people like Jane Elliott, Tim Wise, Michael Moore. They making rounds in the circuit, getting money. Just speaking. Talking about Black people being mistreated. But to no end. No end game, no reparative justice. Really no end game. Just state the obvious. Black people are discriminated against. Government sanctioned genocide, etc. But when it came to reparative justice, all of them, especially Jane Elliott, she was very hostile to people asking her about reparations. She's quiet on the subject. Tim Wise, he's silent as a mouse. Michael Moore, same thing. So when we say, where are these so-called white allies, it kind of, when we started focusing on reparative justice, it kind of pulled the sheep's wool off the wolf, in my opinion. And that's all I want to say.
All right, appreciate that, Duncan. Let me go ahead and get to no taxation. No taxation. What's going on with you tonight?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Not a lot is going on. Thank God we got all this. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good.
That's good. Hello to everybody in the room. I'm gonna just say some stuff. The reason I haven't been on social media as much is because I told you I was gonna get worse before it gets better. And you see how ugly it is now. And so the less time, let me turn this down. The less time you spend putting that negativity in you, the more fortified you'll be to fight the racism that you experience every day, and that's where I am in. So the migrants, okay, I don't know if New York is giving us mixed signals. I really don't know what's going on. They're going to give them little cards, but I'm here to tell you, they locking them up too. Some of them going to the prison house, and that's just what that is. New York is fighting to get deportation permission. States can't automatically deport illegals. They have to turn them over to the feds. And New York, they want to skip that step. So probably what they'll do is see where those cards, they're going to give them those debit cards, right? Debit cards has numbers. All they got to do is punch in the numbers, see who's viable and who's being a good citizen and who's not. And they same thing they do to us, they're gonna do to them. And that's the way the game goes. So we'll have to see. The jury is still out. I have a problem with any of them getting money because they didn't earn it. And we're in a position, black folks are in a position where we need ours. So I feel like everything the government is giving everybody else was mine. Okay? That's just how I feel about it. The other thing is, I don't think people really know, if you've never been to Tuskegee, Alabama, you don't really see how isolated it is. Tuskegee is one way in and one way out, single road, woods on each side, deep in Alabama. They closed Walmart. Walmart built something down there, and then they closed it up because they said it was too much stealing. The people in Tuskegee used to have to go to Auburn to get their goods and services because nothing was there. It's a very isolated place. And I think $5 million in scholarship, is it $5 million to each individual person? Or is it $5 million for everybody? If it's $5 million for everybody, see, you can't beat me because I act bad. I would just go up there, get a group of my people and go up there and spit on the ground and tell them kiss my behind. That's what I would do. But that's me. And they can do whatever they want to do. But here's what I came to tell y'all. If I told you that the United States government and those that uphold it hate Black Americans so bad that they'll start a war to not do anything with them, would you believe me? Do you know how sinister this government is? Because you all just talked about what they used to do and how they used to treat us. Don't forget, these are the same people that did lynching parties too. Remember? They bring food, watch us get burned alive, put us on a spit. That's the evil that we're dealing with. And the government upholds that in various different ways. War is one of them. So you see the money that they're putting out so they don't have to put it over here. The object and the destination for us in this country after enslavement was always either get rid of them and put them on boats and send them back or kill them. Always. It was always that. It was never anything else. And that still holds true to today. So if I told you that the United States government is so sinister and so nasty and so murderous and so ugly that they would start a war and go kill people just to keep from doing anything for us, would you believe me? And that's all I got to say. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. No taxation. Let me go ahead and get to original. What's going on?
Hey, Newstoter, I forgot to say this. Remember now, it was some years ago, I was doing some research on Tuskegee. I don't know how many of you may be familiar with this. The Institutional Review Board is better known as IRB. So what it details is that when you are conducting human subject testing, you are required to tell the person, depending on their age, or their parents or their guardian ad litem, someone who has governorship over them. And see, and like I told the people at work, like I told them, this is not about Tuskegee. And even one of my supervisors asked me, he said, well, do you think they got a vaccine for me and a vaccine for you? I said, hell yeah. You know they do. I said, they may give you a shot of saline and give me something. I don't trust these people not to put something in my body. And so, but yeah, and see the same thing when them black babies that they damaged in Los Angeles. They had that was well after, and this was back from like 1989 to about 91 or 2. But yeah, so there's this thing called the Institutional Review Board that they are supposed to notify these people up front when they when they're doing human subject testing. But the majority of these schools, and see, UCLA, nobody went to jail when they killed the one child and damaged the others in Los Angeles.
When was the IRB formed? I just missed it.
I'll say it again now.
When was the IRB formed?
After Tuskegee. When Tuskegee was exposed, and they had all these conferences and things because it was horrible, and they came up with the IRB after Tuskegee was exposed. And so you're supposed to be required to notify people when you're doing human subject testing. But a lot of time, especially when it's us, they don't do anything because what they did in LA, they had already tested that vaccine in parts of Africa and in some Asian countries, and they obtained the same results. Some of these children died. Some were neurologically damaged, where they would not be able to live a comfortable life at all. But they did it anyway. It's like No Taxation said. These people are sinister. They do not care. They don't see us as being human. And it's like, what's his name? Dr. Bobby E. Wright. He wrote that book, Psychopathic Racial Personality. I would suggest that everybody get that book and read it. He identified them in 3 categories. He said there was neurotic, there was psychotic, and there was psychopathic. And the way I look at them, I see them as being all 3 combined together. Because these are some sick people. But if you do a little research on that IRB, you'll see that it was started, I forget which year, but it was started after Tuskegee was exposed. That's when it started. But even some of these schools now and other research units around the country, they don't abide by it because they already know. Especially if it's us, they will barely get a slap on the hand. And I'll land with that.
Thank you, Original. Let me go ahead and get to Rella, and then I'm gonna get to you, Woke. You there, Rella? Okay, I don't know if Rella, she may be doing something, or she.
No, I'm here. I'm sorry. I was posting.
Okay.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Go ahead and go to work.
Okay.
No, Original reminded me exactly the point that I forgot earlier, which is that, there are other avenues to pursue, like medical institutions, other than the CDC, in terms of holding people accountable. There are other avenues, physicians, boards, American Medical Association. What's their responsibility in this? I would definitely say that there are other avenues that can be pursued in terms of monetary compensation.
Thank you. Well, real quick, because I know you say you're not part of the actual the lineage, but you still want to see us get reparations. If you don't mind me asking, what's your ethnicity?
I am genetically Swedish, a little Irish, and I don't know. I've never had a DNA test, so I definitely need to do that. But a good amount Swedish. My DNA on my dad's side, even though I grew up with him at least until the age of 12, he passed when I was 12. Something on my to-do list to look into my DNA. But I was born in Athens, Georgia in 1974. My father was born in Athens, Georgia in 1932. My father was an ally of Black Americans. I have receipts for that in the form of news articles and just personal stories. He brought me around Black Americans as a very young child, a baby. A Black American, an older Black American woman we used to visit. He was different. He instilled the values in me from a very young age in terms of doing the right thing, and like, he just really instilled that in me. So it's like it's in my blood to. I grew up that way. You know what I'm saying? I did not grow up with the things that you guys do see. I did not grow up with that being instilled in me from a parental angle. So yeah, and then we moved to Chicago actually when I was 1. So I grew up in Chicago, but I was born in Athens, and it's just part of my family history.
Well, I'll say this.
My father made it a point to, make us recognize that this was an issue. Not that he presented it as an issue, but like he exposed us to specifically Black Americans. Like when I was growing up, I don't remember being around a bunch of. I was born in 1974. Around immigrants, it was like Black Americans, and I've been around Black Americans my whole life. So how can I not recognize those things? But I also was blessed to have my father until the age of 12. He was different. He took me to the mission downtown, in downtown Chicago, like the homeless mission when I was a young child, 7, 8 years old, when he was what do they call it in AA? He was a member of AA and he was a sponsor. So he would do his thing and brought my little white ass there, you know what I mean? But he was just different and highly uneducated. Didn't even get past 5th grade. Born into a very poor family. And as far as I know, no slave ownership in my family history, but that's neither here nor there at this point.
Well, I want to say this right here. It's definitely we definitely need more white people definitely to support reparations. So definitely for those that talk to them about reparations, talk to them about the plight of Black people in this country, and try to get as many on board to support it as possible as well too. So you definitely we definitely need some allies, but of course to be an ally you definitely got to put in that work. So if you know any and any that's leaning towards reparations, definitely talk to them, because we definitely need more support in that area from the largest demographic in this country, which would be white people. So definitely. And I know you a lot of times I tweet stuff out and you respond to the post, you leave comments, you retweet them, you like the post and everything else as well too. So I'm definitely appreciative of that as well too. So let me just say that. But we definitely need to have some eyes and ears in some of the places that we can't get into as well too. So definitely you can get into places that nobody else in this actual this space of broadcast can get into. So definitely, give us a heads up on what's coming as well too. But
I do have a quite lengthy letter that I have not sent yet, but it's written up to Joe Biden himself about the need for reparations for the descendants of Black American chattel slavery, and I have not sent it out yet. So that's another thing. I'm not trying to I'm not one that talks about that kind of shit, but I'm just letting you know it's something that I'm doing, not something that I'm doing, but I just feel like there's not a lot of me out there. But then again, I don't pursue other people. I just feel like I'm different. I don't really see other white people, promoting, the Black American agenda. I just really don't see it, to be honest with you. They're fucking scared. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't really
try not to drop an F-bomb, but
oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
But fine, but if you can, if you come across those that are like-minded like yourself or whatever, definitely build a rapport with them and try to get them into the actual like I say, try to get them.
It's white people's job to educate other white people about this stuff. In terms of it's not your job to explain how you were hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's not your job to explain to white people how you were hurt. If they're that ignorant, the only people they're going to listen to is other white people. They're not going to listen to you. If they're on the side of resistance and they're not for the cause, they're obviously not going to listen to you. They need to hear it from other white people. That's the only way it's going to make sense to them in their brain, is because it's only credible, and this is really effed up to say, coming from another white person. And I'm so sorry that that's the truth.
Yeah, trust me, we know. We know. Let me go ahead and get to Rella. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
I guess this is why I kind of, I always say that there's always a ram in the bush. And when I say there's always a ram in the bush, there's always that caveat that, people believe that other people won't hear from us. And yes, I do believe that it's time for other groups of people, and not just white people, to start to practice what they preach. The whole humanitarian novelty conversations around justice and petitioning for legislation and language that they seem to recognize that particular groups that they trust and interest would benefit them adjacently should get any type of support, repair, and resources. They don't see that in a collective of people who are descendants, whether you are LGBTQ and you're part of the descendant community, you are a Black man, a part of the descendant community, a Black woman, a child, even so much so a white woman is in Target and she has a problem with a young baby on a picture with the shirt that says Black Joy. It shows you the degradation that happens, but yet we're not going to stop talking about the harms that have impacted us. It's that white people and others need to stop ignoring the same harms that they inflict on us while trying to highlight those harms in other groups of people. Like calling for Black people to say, why aren't you supporting Palestinians? Why aren't you supporting people in the Congo? Why is it that you only recognize harms being done outside the country and for people coming into the country, but the people who live in your country, you don't seem to recognize that? Do you see the oxy? Like that seems that's some sociopathic stuff. That is, again, points to a benign neglect. And it also points to the fact that the people who are voted into office on the local, state, and federal level are people who are gatekeeping Americans out of our full revolutionary repair. Our country could be so much better than what it is today, and even further ahead than what we are today when it comes to competing with the world. But the people who come into the country and who claim that they have immigrant parents or they're from other places and they're in positions of authority, they have also contributed to the benign neglect. Because again, they only see an interest for a particular group of people to get their resources versus the people who have been denied those very repairs and resources and benefits from the harm that has been done to us. And the reason why we can say us is because our ancestors are no longer alive to receive the repair when it comes. So it has to be passed down so that way our children's children can live on. That's what we are fighting for. We're fighting so that our bloodline and our lineage and our very existence to our culture, the very essence that we were birthed into, does not die out. And we deserve to have that representation. We deserve to have that repair as Americans. Point blank period.
Absolutely. Woke, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thanks. I just wanted to clarify. I didn't mean to insinuate to not speak about the harms. I hope that wasn't taken that way.
No.
Okay.
Not at all. I just speak very general in a conversation. So you'll know if I'm speaking to you because I'll definitely say it. But no, just generalizing. And again, I think when we do have these types of conversation and like people like yourself, when you do come in, I feel like come in and have the conversation and be willing like you have been to sit in and without condemnation and hear what it is we're talking about and actually speak in truth about what we're talking about, because that's been our issue with other groups, because we're not looking for an alignment. We're not even looking for congratulations. It's the mere fact of on the backs of what's right is right. You're going to stand up for what's right, because if that's what you believe in and that's what you fight for, even yourself on a daily basis, what makes us any different? You understand what I'm saying? Just saying.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I just think in terms of people that I'm talking about, white supremacists, that are really hardcore. There's definitely several Republicans that wrote a nice, strong letter about warning states that if they do, consider reparations, there would be some sort of consequence for that. So it's an uphill battle with those people. Those are the people that I'm talking about.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for some white people to actually call them out. I'm waiting for some white people to go toe-to-toe with them. And they are probably from backgrounds of other nations as well. And they probably don't want to mention that. And they probably have a history. Matter of fact, I think a couple of people had noted that if I think, was it Alabama and Tennessee? No. Who was the governors? The two, one was in Texas, I think. Wasn't he? Anyway, I can look it up. But I think people had outed them of having, ancestors of slave owners. And then, that kind of article died down. Newstoter, I don't know. Did we even have a conversation about it? Did you ever?
About what was that again? I'm sorry.
The governors, I think they were governors, or they were politicians who had petitioned the government to stop any other states from receiving any reparations or going after reparations or something like that. I'm gonna put an article and I post it to you.
I can't remember, because I know you had that Florida governor that was saying that the Florida politician. I can't remember. I can't remember. Really.
Actually, several of them got together and wrote this thing as a joint statement. So there's definitely, I can look it up as well. It's something that they presented formally as a group of people and signed their names to it. Is that what you were referring to, or were you aware of that?
I think that's what she.
Yeah, I don't remember being a joint. That's new.
I know you had the one in Florida. You had the guy in Florida. Yeah, I can't think of his name. Yeah, it was the one in Florida that was trying to stop any reparations claim coming here in the state of Florida. So I know it was. Now I can't. It may have been one in Texas too, though. It may have been. I can't remember, but I think it was one in Texas as well too. The one in Texas might actually. I can't remember if it was him first or the one from Florida, but you might be right. It may have been multiple people that were actually trying to create something.
Sure. I saw it. I saw the document. I can try to look for it. I can't remember what it's called, but it's definitely a group thing that they got in on together. So maybe that was the aftermath of what you were hearing in terms of the individuals.
Somebody just said it was HR 4321. Facts out said HR F3 HR 4321.
That's it.
Okay, yeah, I knew it was something though. Yeah, I could not remember because, like I said, I know you had a dude in Florida. He was cutting the food here. Then you had, I think the one from Texas. He may have been the first one with the damn thing. And then you had the one in Florida. Of course, it don't take long. It don't take much to get Florida politicians involved in something like that too, especially if it's going to be anti-black or something. So
that is a hostile act. I'm sorry, but to write that, to bring yourself to write that, that's a hostile act. Sorry, go ahead.
Indeed it is. No taxation. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
The last time I checked on that bill, which I don't know if it was last month after the holidays or was it before the holidays, because y'all know I took the holidays off and celebrated myself. It had moved. The people that signed off on it they haven't put it on the floor for a vote. They haven't done anything with it. And I think the reason why is because they know that man is crazy. A lot of times what happens in places of power is that if they see somebody upsetting their apple cart, then the real political powers come into play and say, no, we're not going to put it on the floor. So I think that's where that bill is, although I can't say for sure, but I know the last time I checked, which has to be the past 2, 3, 4 months, it had moved, not even a little bit. It's just up there with the names that are attached to it. I think, I can't forget, less than 10 names, I think, was on it when I looked at it. It's just like HR 40. HR 40 hadn't moved. It hadn't been on the floor for a vote. Hadn't done anything. Just like Elizabeth Warren's housing bill that specifically addresses redlining for Black Americans in this country and how they can be made whole through HUD, with a plan to get not just first-time homeowners into homes, but people that are living in homes that need rehabilitation. Has never been to the floor. Good bill. Never been on the floor to vote for it. We have a real problem in this country. They don't want to govern. They want to be polytricksters. They want to be politicians. They don't want to be statesmen, and they don't want to be stateswomen. And that's the problem we have in this country. It's every dog for himself now. And they mean that, and it's going to stay that way, and it's going to get worse. And I'm going to finish it there. If I didn't say hello to everybody in the room, I'm sorry. Hello to everybody in the room. Thanks.
Hey, Tex.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Well, the Midland, I can't complain. You know, I'm old and can't take much. And so when I hear bad news, I can't do a whole lot of bad news. And this country has some very real problems that don't have to be systemic in nature. And they don't want to correct it because we have no one up there, Rella, that has the political will. We just don't have it. And if they do, they can't exercise it. I'm wondering what's going on with our senators that say they care about what happens to this country. Because the Senate is the only place where the minority has as much power as the majority. And the minority, that's exercising their power against the majority is winning. But those happen to be the Tea Partiers. They call them MAGA now. But they're not MAGA, they're Tea Partiers. That's what they are. They're not trying to make America great again. They want to have a secession of states. They want a convention of states. They've been working on it for years. I told y'all about that. They want to secede and become their own country within a country. And I don't know how they're going to do that, against the Constitution, but that's them and not me. But yeah, it's getting worse, y'all. You see it now. It's getting much, much worse. And it's going to continue to get worse. And I just, if you can get to the Democratic National Convention to exercise your protest in August, I suggest everybody do that in Chicago. Because, that's for any protest that needs to happen, not just reparations. They need to fix the country. They have the power to do it and refuse to do it. So we have a very real problem in this country. We have weak politicians that are out for self. And something's got to be done. Because the country is already in hell with a handbasket. I don't know if we can go any further. I really don't. And if we do, what does that look like? Because, see, here's what they're doing in New York City. They snatching people and put machetes to their necks. They're shooting at the police, and the police are shooting back. Okay? So it's a very real problem in this country. If New York falls, that's the financial capital center of the world, not just this country, the world. And they have to protect that. But hell, I thought they was going to protect San Francisco just because it was San Francisco in the tech place. And they didn't do that. You see what it looks like. So they really don't care. You see what's going on down in Florida. News can tell you that. Newstoter can tell you what's going on down there. It's a mess. Same thing in Texas. A hot mess. And we got people in this country that still don't have clean water or water at all. And they want to tighten the reins. So we'll see what happens. A revolution has to happen in this country, y'all. A revolution.
Yeah, because look, this is actually what you're talking about. So it says Senator preparations for descendants of slaves. Senator Belize Ingolia, he's in Florida. Wants to end the debate in Florida over whether reparations should be paid to descendants of slaves by banning it in the state constitution. On Monday, he filed, when was this posted? I'm sorry. I gotta look for the date. Shit. This was posted / here. Oh, don't give me a date. This is a Florida article.
It was last year sometime. It was last year.
Okay, so it says on Monday he filed a resolution SJR 582 that would place a question on the 2024 ballot asking voters to approve a constitutional amendment prohibiting any government in Florida from paying reparations to certain individuals. Those individuals, the measure says, include anyone with an ancestor who was an enslaved individual who lived in the United States before December 6, 1865. Congress abolished slavery that day through the ratification of the 13th Amendment, and Gold's proposal would first have to clear both chambers of the legislature with 60% support before being placed on the ballot. He told Florida Politics the intent of the measure is to prevent politicians from using the issue of reparations for political gain while also giving voters the direct say in the matter. The crazy part in this, though, I posted the article for y'all want to read the rest of this, and he has a handle, former Florida GOP chair who goes by the X handle of Governor Gone Wild, has used the issue of slavery to score political points. In February, he filed a bill SB 1248 titled Ultimate Cancel Act. I'm gonna have to look that up too to eliminate the Democratic Party. So I'm gonna have to look up his what he all about and stuff, because he might have to get handled anyway. Let me be quiet. So the crazy crazy part is I'm looking at his last name, and I need to figure out where he's from, because he looks like a white man, but he's not. He don't look like a white American, like European, Swedish, or anything like that. He looks Spanish. Like he looks like he maybe has some Latin or something.
Like Italian, maybe Italian.
Maybe Italian in that last name. Is that an Italian? I have to look to see. Is that an Ingo? It's Ingoglia.
Oh yeah, that's Spanish. That's
like Spanish, it's
yeah,
Spain, or
it's
something in Latin. So
yeah.
It's crazy when you see people who, again, it goes back to, there are people cosplaying as even the 13 colonists who were from different nations, European nations that came over. They're cosplaying as somehow having this American moral compass, right? Of twisting the terminology of what it means to be a patriot into something that actually doesn't. It means something totally different. They're not even behaving as they really like America. Because who would actually say, I'm going to create a bill that's going to deny people who have ancestors that were part of the United States before the ratification or the introduction of the 13th Amendment? That's some crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's like an act of war. It's like an intimidation tactic as well. Like, don't try it. You know what I'm saying? Even if we know it's not going to go anywhere, it's like a don't try it type of thing. I mean, you could interpret it that way.
Righty, guys. I guess
it's terrible.
I guess we'll go ahead and get ready to close the space out for the night. I'm not sure if I know I'm not going to be doing one tomorrow night, but I may I'm not entirely sure about Thursday. I gotta wait and see. But if not, this may be the last space for this week, or we could potentially do one Thursday. No taxation. You want to say something real quick?
Yeah, real quick, News. Thanks. I just wanted to piggyback off of what Woke said. It's one, partly an intimidation factor for the people in those states, because if you don't live in that state, nobody really cares about who you are, right? So number one is an intimidation factor, but also two, look at it as a stopgap measure. They might be sitting on that, like Elizabeth Warren's office is sitting on that for the opportune time to present it. That's what they do with these bills when they know they can pass it. And so it tells me that we're closer, so close that somebody decided they needed to write some legislation and get their buddies to put on it. So I want you all to look at it as a win and not a loss. It hasn't hit the floor yet for a vote. That's still a win. They know they can't get the vote. See? So they could have put it up there to say, okay, in case them N-word people get this far, we got something already in place for them. White supremacy plans 50 years in advance. Please know that, y'all. They plan well in advance, okay? And I'm going to leave it there. Thanks.
No problem. So, yeah, guys, I'm not sure. We'll see about maybe Thursday doing a space. If not, it may not be till Monday. I'm not entirely sure right now. So I'll see what's up, see what's going on and everything in the news cycle. If not, then you guys have a good weekend. I'll definitely you'll definitely see me posting a bunch of content on X. So definitely thank everybody for coming out to the space tonight, guys. Be safe. Have a good night, and we'll see you either Thursday or Monday. Peace.